Welcome back to Sitting In. I'm your host, Austin Green. Pull up a chair and join us as we explore life through honest conversation. Today's guest is Will Vasquez, and in this episode, we cover how marching in drum corps can change your perspective on music and life, how to turn art into work without losing the joy behind it, insights into the common struggle of inertia, and much more. Will has been a friend of mine for a long time. We went to high school together at Marcus High School. We were in drumline and percussion together under the directorship of Ken and Wiley. He decided to pursue that as a career, doing an undergraduate degree in music performance at Florida State University under John Parks. He marched at Santa Clara Vanguard twice, 2022 and 2024, and now he's pursuing a master's degree in performance under Matthew Strauss at Rice University. The intersection of art and work has always been very interesting to me, and so I wanted to hear his perspective on it as a musician. Quick disclaimer, there was some audio problems at the beginning of this, so we do jump right into it. We get into a question I was excited to ask him about how drum corps actually has started to change his perspective even before he wanted to do music fully as a career. And thanks for being here. During those 2 years that you did march, was there like a moment during one or either or both potentially of those years that made you kind of question, like, why am I doing this?
Plenty, I guess. No, it was always, there are a lot of people that don't like it, they're out there and they're like miserable. I liked it most of the time. Like, it's not like I liked it all of the time, but, I think I was, pretty happy most of the time when I was marching. I think there are a lot of people that like do it while they're doing it. It's like, man, this sucks. But it's just like what they do, It's like there are people that are like, yeah, I'm not coming back next year. You see them at auditions.
It's like they realize in hindsight that it was awesome.
Yeah. It's like you're thinking about it and you're like, man, that was so good. Like, I'm going to do that again. But then like you get out there and it's miserable, which it's miserable, but I liked it.
Hey, I mean, there's something about doing something so hard, I think, that like even in the moment it might suck, but you know that there's a purpose behind it.
Yeah.
And so it's like you immediately know that it's worth it, and so you just keep going.
Yeah. It's like, maybe miserable isn't the right word, but it's definitely like hard enough to like, you get a water break and you're like, man, I could just like sit down. Like I don't know, sometimes I'd think about if I were at home right now, I'd just be playing video games. Mm-hmm. And that sounds like some loser, some loser stuff, like saying it here. But whenever you're out there, you're like, man, if I could just play like some Halo right now.
Well, the reference point is so different. Like whenever you're on the field practicing, whenever you're doing those 4-hour blocks, whenever that's like the baseline at the moment in time, something like just hanging out playing video games for 4 hours.
Yeah.
It's such the opposite of that it's not like you're not a loser for wanting to do that. It's just like it would be nice to do the opposite of this for a little while.
Yeah.
It makes a lot of sense, I think. I think it's very relatable too.
Yeah.
I think that there's a very fine line between discipline and damage, honestly. Where does drum corps fall on that line for you?
Can you restate it? Can you like rephrase that?
Yeah, I can definitely try. I think the nuance is that, so there's a fine line between discipline and damage, and the nuance there is that a lot of things that we go through that are difficult, the suffering that you go through, I mean, being miserable that you go through is very formative. So it develops you, right?
Yeah.
I think that there's a line where the suffering is not actually helpful in actually developing you. Like there's a line you can cross, right? Where that suffering starts to hurt you more than it's going to help you in the future. And I'm curious where like the experience of drum corps falls on that spectrum.
I thought it was all good. I don't know. Like it all, it doesn't all suck, but like in the moment, a lot of it sucks. Mm-hmm. But it's not like, none of it is like, at least for me, has hardened, I'm not more like cynical or anything. But I think part of it is because like, I don't know, whenever I was there, it was such like a good vibe, you know? There weren't people fighting all the time, mostly, It's the summer, so you get sick of each other.
Oh, yeah.
But like, for the most part, it was like a super supportive environment. I think sometimes, like, if you're in a place that isn't as good, not good, like talented, but like isn't as good about like emotional support. I don't know. Like, it's not as friendly. Like, you're not as like brotherly.
Mm-hmm.
I think then it can get to be like, hey, why'd you mess that up? Like, are you trying to piss me off? like no, like, I don't know. I think the staff at Vanguard is really good about knowing that nobody wants to make mistakes, Like, nobody is sitting there for 85 days in the sun, being miserable, and like, yeah, I think this rep, I'm just not going to listen. I think this rep, I want to mess up the drill. Like, no one's sitting there doing that. And I think it's because of that, like, recognition and, like, that's been stated blatantly before, that I never felt like anything negative other than, like, my back hurts. like not, I don't know. I think I'm all better for it because of the way that, it's a high performing environment, supportive.
Mm-hmm.
I just thought it was all good.
Yeah. That's great. I mean, I think that's really cool that you can look back on it in that kind of a healthy way. And I would be surprised if anyone kind of didn't have that perspective. I think that it's probably a unique case whenever someone looks back and has a more negative perspective on it. That's my guess, at least.
Yeah.
Just based on, the little that I know about it, it seems like it's mostly positive, and it's like you're saying, where in the moment it sucks so bad, but that there's a reason, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah, it sucks because, like, you don't always want to be rehearsing,
right? Especially when it's 100 degrees outside.
Yeah, but it doesn't actually suck. It's just in the moment, I wouldn't take any of it back at all. I
think that's huge. I think that's a really big insight. Is like you don't regret it. I mean, I think that's a really big thing. And you said something there in the middle of answering that, which it's 85 days.
Yeah.
How does knowing, because that's not, like, that's a lot of days, but that's not a long time. How does, if at all, in the moment, knowing that it's 85 days, help you get through it?
Well, sometimes at the beginning, it's like, man, this is already miserable. But then you keep doing it and it's fine. Especially during spring training, it can get to be like, man, I will be here forever. Before you start doing shows, which shows are so much fun. And, like, you get to play, especially, if it goes your way, it's like, yeah.
Yeah, you have that moment of celebration with the people that you've been working so hard with.
But, like, during spring training, whenever it's just the grind, it's just 3 blocks a day. And, like, it might be 100 degrees out. It might be, since we were in Northern California or Idaho or Seattle, near Portland, it can either be like 100 degrees some days, and some days it'll, like, it's sleeted. It was sleeting.
What?
Yeah, it was sleeting in Idaho for, like, some of it. Like, and we had to come inside because there's, like, ice falling on the ground. It's like, and 3 days later, it's like 95.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Wow.
I prefer the heat.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Rehearsing in the cold is, like, terrible.
I agree.
Yeah.
That's terrible. That's, yeah.
I mean, you were in marching band. We rehearsed in, like, November.
Yeah.
That was terrible.
Not a fun time.
Yeah.
No. And, like, whenever we went to Indianapolis, it's like the walk from the bus to the practice facility is like,
so
okay,
miserable.
This sucks. Like, fortunately, we get to practice inside.
Yeah.
But, like, oh, gosh.
A lot of people... So when Crown was staying in... they were staying in Dayton, at Dayton High School, which is, like... I don't know if it's Dayton High School. They were staying where, like, WGI finals are.
Mm-hmm.
And they talked about, because they had all done indoor. I've never done it, but they were talking about how, like, that is miserable. That is, like, the most miserable lot ever because it's in, like, the middle of February in Ohio. Or not February. It's in the middle of the spring in Ohio, and it's dreadfully cold.
Yeah. Yeah, the heat definitely, I think that's Yeah, couldn't agree more. The heat is way better than the cold for doing anything physical, right?
Yeah.
That just, yeah, I think that's pretty, most people I think would agree.
Yeah.
No, I think like what we're hitting on is kind of a cool point, like about that line between discipline and suffering and what makes it worth it in the end. Something that I'm curious about, like you play a lot of shows. How many shows is it total usually?
I don't know. It's been, people are talking about how drum corps is not going to be around in like 10 years, 20 years. A lot of people are doom and gloom because, the number of shows each year kind of goes down. I don't know if it's every year, but, they used to play like 40 shows in the summer. And now it's not like that. I don't know. I think we had 20...
Okay.
Ish, 20-ish. Somewhere between like 15 and 20, I want to say. That could be like not totally wrong, but that could be off.
Yeah, just for the sake of this, call it 15 to 20-ish. Yeah. Whenever you have like those shows breaking up the season like that, what is the line and like how do you think you managed the staff managed that relationship of celebrating whenever things go your way versus taking a win and then just moving on and grinding and keep going? How do you balance that?
I don't know. It's not that hard because it was never that hard for us, I don't think, because I don't want to sound any certain way, but, Paul has been very successful. Paul Rennick and his team has been very successful. Mm-hmm. So I think he knows how to like kind of keep the momentum going.
Okay. While also like addressing like congratulations, good job kind of thing.
Yeah. Like he gets excited too. It's not about the competition, but like really it's like, okay, we won this show. Mm-hmm. But also like, we know what went wrong. Let's listen back to the tape. Okay, the judge knows what went wrong. At least part of it. Mm-hmm. There's like plenty of stuff that the judge won't catch, and we're like, no, that was actually bad. He just wasn't in a spot to hear it. Or like, and the opposite is true. It's like, oh, that was really good. I remember in 2024, like we had our part 4 quad break was like pretty solid, especially by like the middle of the season. And like nobody ever heard it until Indy. Like no one, the judge is like, they're only on the front of the field now. But like we went onto side 2. No, we went on to side 1 and played this quad break on like the 35. But like it was so rare for like a judge to actually be in position to like hear it, which was a bummer. But there's plenty of stuff that they don't catch. There's plenty of like really clean stuff that they won't point out, or there's plenty of like really not good stuff that they also won't catch. Mm-hmm. It's a big part. Like the read is a big part of it. So like just knowing like ourselves, like, okay, here's what actually needed to be better. Like here's what I heard. There's a bunch of mistakes that we know everybody else is also ironing out their stuff. And we also just want it to be as good as possible. So even if we're like the best group at that show, we know there's still more stuff most of the time.
So the standard, they're really good at keeping the standard as what we know we can do, as opposed to looking at everyone else and saying, oh, well, we're winning or whatever. We're however it's working, and comparing it outward like that. It's more of an internal focus.
Yeah, there's some talk about like the goal of each group at Vanguard is to like be better than Paul's last group. Which is a tall order because like you watch some of those Phantom videos and it's like, wow, this is insane. Yeah. Like this is so clean. But like he's super good about like, yeah, that was actually like the best thing I've ever heard. Like, I mean,
That's awesome.
He's like, yeah, Paul is super supportive. Patrick Tierney, who was a quad tech, and Travis Bourne, who were quad techs. They were on for most of the summers in 2022 and 2024. Travis in 22, Patrick in 24. And like they were both super good about being really supportive and also honest. An honest review of the show.
I mean, I think that's key is whenever you do something at a high level, generally speaking, to have like an honest reviewer, right?
Yeah.
Someone that is like on your side, but also realistic. Because if you're just getting hyped up all the time,
Yeah.
then you just fall into the hype and you don't actually know where you need to get better. You don't realize where you need to get better. Whereas if you have someone on your side that can tell you like, hey, you're doing really well, but also, you know, whatever, the part 2 quad feature here was like bad this time.
Yeah, it's
or
like
whatever.
Yeah, we got lucky because the judge just happened to not see this quad break, so we got put up this show. All right, let's actually fix that.
Yeah, that's funny. So I think that whenever my understanding whenever you march is that it's obviously the only thing you're doing and you're doing it with such intensity. How do you balance like it becoming who you are for a summer versus like your identity, you know? Like it's this weird kind of balance of like, do you just go all in? It's like, this is who I am. And then when you come out, you kind of try to reset. What does that look like?
I don't know. It's like anything else you do. Like I mean, it's super fun, and it does become like, you know, part of you for an entire summer. It's all you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And like, you know, some people get off the summer and they still just talk about it all the time, which is like understandable because it's like super fun. It's a like super formative
Mm-hmm.
experience. But I don't know. I honestly, most of the time I try to kind of make it a point to not talk about it that much because it does get easy to like, this is something that happened in drum corps, like this is what we did over the summer, or like isn't this so cool, like this is such a funny story, and really nobody cares about your drum corps stories. Like,
I mean, maybe.
but sometimes, but not all the time. I don't know.
Well, but if it's so central to like who you are, it's something that you poured all of what you have into for a summer. It's like that's an important part of you, and what I'm trying to get at here is like, how do you incorporate that into who you are and have those funny stories to tell without being like overbearing and, you know, annoying about it?
I don't know. Like, I don't know.
It's hard, I guess. Is that maybe what it is?
Not necessarily. Like, I don't know. It's just like anything else that happens. Like, you're not talking about high school band most of the time, even though that was like
That's true.
basically what you did for, you know, 7 years.
Okay.
4 years really, but
Yeah.
you're in percussion for 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
It's just it's something that happened. It's something that I did, and it's like super fun. And it's a like big part of, you know, my musicianship, and I think it did like really, you know, change who I am, I guess. But I don't know. It doesn't, like, you know, it's like anything else you do. You don't need to talk about it all the time.
Interesting. Okay. I know that's fair. I mean, I think a lot of people think about stuff like that where it's so difficult and it is truly the only thing you're doing, that I think a lot of people misinterpret it. Kind of like from what you're saying, where they think that it has to become everything that you are, but that's kind of grounding, where it's like it's a thing that you did, and like that it does become part of who you are, but it's just a thing that you did.
Yeah. I think at one point it used to be a really big part of people. Like,
Okay.
I think that's kind of a stigma, like, you know, it's going away, but there is this like stigma of drum corps musicians having like, you know, they play loud all the time, like they play heavy, they play tight, or like, you know, all they do is blast, you know, that kind of stuff. And that was true, especially like before amplification.
Oh, sure.
But also because whenever you'd march drum corps, like that's kind of where you're learning music from. Like that's where you're like literally like take a beginner, like this is how we play.
Mm-hmm.
And then like that's why it used to be more regional, you know, like there used to really be like this West Coast, East Coast thing that like it's completely different style. It's a completely different style because one, the internet doesn't exist, and two, like you really are like there's no high school percussionists that are like, oh, this guy's really good. Like we got to keep an eye out for this young guy. It's like, all right, we're gonna teach you how to drum, and because of that, it was also like you moved in January. So like there are stories from old Vanguard guys of like moving into the Corps Hall in January, and they just rehearsed on the Corps Hall parking lot for like 6 months.
Whoa. Why do you think it's changed so much?
The talent level, the internet. Like that's really what it is, you know. Now you can find videos of 7th graders playing like crazy stuff. That guy Caleb Yursek that marched on the quad line in 2024 has a video. I think it's like kind of a popular video. I don't remember how many views it has, but it's titled like 7th grader plays Blue Devils 2017. And you know, that's like used to be like impossible.
Mm-hmm.
like that doesn't even make any sense. But
because
like
you wouldn't be able to find it.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, like a 7th grader wouldn't be able to do that because they don't have the education.
Yeah, they don't have the education.
Mm-hmm.
They don't like, you know, they just didn't know what drumming like was supposed to look like. And now you can have like 6th or 7th graders that are like watching a bunch of YouTube and they're like, oh shoot, this is like how you play some of this stuff. And they're like looking up the drum corps music. So it's like, you know, drumming is more than just like a double stroke roll.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, oh man, listen to my double stroke roll. Like, no, now it's like, no, I'm playing Blue Devils 2017, or I'm playing, you know, Blue Coats 2016, the most popular snare break ever that every young jit has a recording of. The most iconic snare break ever.
I mean, it's a pretty cool one. Like,
Yeah.
there's a reason, right? Why it's so popular.
It's cool. I was watching a YouTube video. Like, I was over at some of the UNT guys, that same house that we stayed in Crum.
Mm-hmm.
I was just hanging out with some of them last week. And, like, we found this compilation of, like, most iconic DCI snare breaks. And I didn't even know, like, half of them. But Blue Coats 2016 wasn't on there. I was like, what's going on? Like, that's literally, like, the most recognizable snare break of all time.
Yes. Like, it's such a weird way to start. And then it's just, like, it's so rhythmic.
Yeah.
Like, like jazzy, kind of.
It makes me laugh. Everybody knows that.
Yeah.
You know, like, everybody knows it. I don't know. You know.
So, obviously, you're at Rice now.
Yeah.
Pursuing your master's. How has your relationship changed with practicing now that it's not just for a performance, but you're practicing now for a career in music? And I would expect a shift in that, and maybe there isn't, but how has your relationship changed for between you and practicing?
I don't know. I remember in high school, you know, like you could practice, and sometimes to me at least, it felt like, oh, I have to be good. But like really, there's no stakes. Like really, if you don't make 6th grade or 9th grade region, like, you know, who cares? Like Mr. Wiley and Mr. Kelly cares, you know, but you know, really, it's not that important. Like
the small circle that you're in might care and give you feedback.
Yeah.
But that's not going to determine a long-term trajectory necessarily.
Yeah, it was like most of us were practicing because it was fun to be good. It was fun to play well. It's like fun to play clean with the guy next to you. It's fun to, you know, not miss that many notes in your 2-mallet TMEA all-state etude. And then like it just so happens like you go to compete and also like, you know, you do well because it was fun to practice. And it can be fun now as like I'm doing it as a career. But most of the time it's like, you know, if I don't practice, I'm not going to ever get a job. So like now it's a lot more regimented on what I'm going to do. Like, okay, I have to do this. Like, you know, Dr. Parks talks about, you know, having your red lights and your yellow lights and your green lights, you know. So like the green lights, like I could play this tomorrow and it'd sound fine. Like practicing for auditions, you know. Like when I was doing grad school auditions, it was like for most of it, my contemporary marimba solo, Burritt variations. Mm-hmm. You know, marimba is something that, you know, I mean, it was pretty emphasized at Marcus, you know. It's not been something that I really struggled with that much, not as much as like playing De La Cruz etudes or playing excerpts, like especially like cymbals or tambourine. So, I don't know, it was like that was always a green light. Like that took kind of a backseat for most of my audition preparation, outside of the fact that that's probably the hardest thing I was doing, you know. And it was also it's kind of the least emphasized at most of the schools I was auditioning at. You know, there's not a whole lot of they care about it, but the biggest part of a lot of these auditions for me, because I was going the kind of conservatory route, was the excerpts, you know, and playing snare drum really well. So what I was doing most of my practicing would be, you know, anything else, I guess. You know, not that I wasn't practicing marimba, but really big emphasis on snare drum, really big emphasis on like trying to get my accessories up, you know, which I had never really done that much before. Because like, you know, the transition from Marcus High School to Florida State was actually pretty easy. It was pretty simple. You know, it's like a very different life, but also like the emphasis, percussion ensemble. You're gonna play marimba solos. You're gonna play some Bach. That was more new. Like we didn't do a lot of Bach playing at Marcus,
Not really,
but
no.
like you're doing a lot of marimba playing. You're doing a lot of percussion ensemble, and like really that transition was easy. I learned like a lot about playing snare drum, and a lot about you know, like more ensemble listening, tone and touch, all that kind of stuff. But really, like, the foundation was there. I think if I had, like, immediately went to a conservatory, like, even now, the transition to Rice has been, like, kind of difficult. Because it's, like, a lot of, like, you know, I'll spend, like, hours playing tambourine, which I have, like, never done before.
Yeah, I don't think most people have.
I forgot what I was talking about.
The transition from
Well, yeah.
Florida State to Rice now, going into a conservatory.
The practicing, yeah.
Yeah.
So now for me, because, you know, my background, you know, playing a lot of rudimental stuff and playing a lot of marimba, like my red lights are, you know, my tambourine playing or my triangle playing, which is weird.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Or my crash cymbal playing. Like, I suck at crash cymbals right now.
What?
Well, I'm not like terrible. I can get a good crash most of the time.
That is like a foreign idea to me, that those things could be like you're saying, the red lights. How does that change your perspective on practice? Like that you have to do those things now.
Well, now I have like a journal, you know, and I don't know, like it's fun to make really fast progress. So like I feel like whenever I pick up a tambourine, like I'm making faster progress than I would playing marimba, you know. So it's still enjoyable most of the time. If I'm not, you know, crunch time, it gets, you know, you just practice it all the time. But it's enjoyable for me to like sit down and practice a bunch of tambourine, and it still feels like I'm like making, you know, new discoveries. Whenever I pick up a tambourine, I'm like, okay, like maybe hold it flatter, or like, you know, whatever tricks I might want to pick up, or like, you know, crushing cymbals. It's like there's like way more to it than you would think. Like, I don't know. It's like, okay, what happens if I, you know, offset more, or like try to turn the wrist like while I'm doing it, so like really there's no point of contact. I don't know. It's like you're making new discoveries all the time on a lot of these, you know, because I haven't played much cymbals or tambourine or triangle in my past. Like, you know, I'm still learning new things. Like every time I play marimba now, it's like I know how to play the instrument. I'm not like the best marimba player, but I've been playing it for long enough that like I can kind of intuitively know like, okay, this is probably the fix I need to do. And now it's funny because like sometimes my marimba playing is like the weakest thing because I just don't practice marimba that much. Like I should, but my tambourine playing and my cymbal playing is like so far behind, like just naturally right now. I think where everything else is, that I just been doing more of that, you know, especially my first semester, like trying to really get a good handle on how to play tambourine, how to play cymbals.
That is so interesting. That like the accessories like that. It's that like that can be a weak link, and it's so important.
Yeah. Well, like, and Matt was talking about that in some of the mock auditions that people were doing. A bunch of people were going to take San Diego. The San Diego Symphony had an opening. And, like, Matt pointed out, they all had, like, really good rounds. And Matt pointed out that the biggest reason that they all had good rounds is because all their accessory stuff was good. Like, you know, most people sound good on xylophone. At this level, like, most people are going to sound good on xylophone. They're not going to miss very many notes, if any. Mm-hmm. You know, they're not going to play super out of time on stuff. Like, most of it's going to be like, okay, how does this person understand how to play bass drum in a hall? Or does this person know, like, how to make a good sound or the appropriate sound for this simple excerpt, you know? Mm-hmm. Or, like, can this person just make a triangle hit sound the same every time?
Because in a symphony, it's not like how good you remember some of those sounds. Yeah. It's how good you play in the symphony.
Yeah, that's the job.
So I'm curious if drum corps made in any way the graduate level like percussion experience and these mock auditions and everything easier or harder, or just change how it works for you.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, definitely, like, you know, for one, it's like, you know, I have a lot of like functionality, like chops. Mm-hmm. I don't sound the best all the time. I don't have like the greatest sound quality all the time, but like I can play most of the stuff that you put in front of me, which is super useful. And then like also, especially with like Bill Bachman's teaching, like I don't know, the way that he thinks about like the musculature and the way that your hands work, it was like actually way more informative than I thought it would be. It's not like I'm just like preaching the Bill gospel all the time, which like everything that he says is like brilliant, but you know, I'm not completely taking everything in that he taught. Like I'm not always like thumb 45 degrees. I'm not always 10 degrees on top of the stick. But like thinking about that kind of stuff, like, okay, why is this not working? And then being able to like diagnose a problem like he does is like super important, you know? So that's like as far as like the actual playing stuff. And then as far as, you know, it's it matures you to have to suffer so much. Like, you know, like it is like a discipline thing, like, you know, to just sit there and be like, okay, this sucks. You got to do it.
The mental endurance you mentioned earlier. It's like, do you, I mean, hitting walls, I'm sure you hit walls in graduate level, like practicing and the various auditions and everything you have to go through. I think obviously it's a little more under your control as opposed to it being something that you're being like directed to do. But it's like, dog barking. But I mean, it is something that like, whenever you're deciding to do it, how does that change? Like whenever the discipline and the mental endurance comes in, whenever you're deciding, I'm going to do this because I know I have to, versus like in drum corps, you're choosing to do it because you chose to be there, but like you're getting told like this block we're doing this, and this is what time we're starting, and this is all these things. How's that affect it?
I don't know. For me, it almost makes it more exhausting. I think it's more exhausting for me to like motivate myself because there's not like this social, as much of a social aspect to it. You know, it's not like I'm here with everybody else.
It's much more individual.
Yeah. It's like, you know, if I don't practice this right now, I'll just show up into the audition and I'll sound bad and it's whatever. But also you know, really, like every audition isn't life or death, especially for me right now. Like I'm not in a position, I'm taking like San Francisco Ballet, for example. That's probably not a job that I'm going to win. Realistically, I'm probably not going to win that. That's like my first audition, but I want to show up and I want to play for the audition experience.
Mm-hmm. And you want to be competitive. Like if you got the job, that'd be great, but you're approaching it with that mindset.
Yeah, but there's no point in like taking the audition if I'm not even going to care about it, even knowing that I'm probably not going to get it, you know?
Okay. So you're approaching it with the intent to play as good as possible that you might get it.
Yeah.
While also knowing you probably won't get it.
And a big part of it is going to be like if I advance, you know, like they're going to have prelims and semis and finals and maybe like super finals. If I advance, that's a big thing to put on my resume, especially like as I'm starting out in the audition circuit. You know, there are a lot of people that are like just as old as me, basically, that have much larger like audition resumes, you know, and that's like a big thing that symphonies and military, I think the militaries look for it too, obviously, or military groups look for it.
I think it's an interesting insight that audition resume is like even a thing. I literally did not know that existed. And it's like progressing even one round for you. That's huge.
That's a big deal.
And so it's like maybe you're not playing to get the job because you like kind of know you probably won't, but obviously you might.
Yeah.
And if you progress, that's good in and of itself. That's a very like nuanced mindset where like even a step towards the goal is success.
Yeah, and that's like actually a very large part of it. Like I was just talking to my buddy Lissandro, and he's the Pittsburgh Symphony also has an opening right now. And that audition is next month, and he's practicing for it. And he's like, man, I just hope I advance. Like, he's like miserable. He's sitting there. He's like, I just want to advance. So like,
why? Just like,
because I don't know. He sounds like he's kind of down about how the prep is going. He's like, you know, man, I know I'm not going to get it, which is insane because he's like so good. He was in finals for LA.
Whoa.
Yeah, he's really good.
Why does he think he wouldn't even do well at the Pittsburgh if he was in finals for LA?
I don't think he thinks he's in a good spot with his prep, but I think he's fine. He's going to do fine. But like the audition resume, for example, that Pittsburgh opening, I think basically most of the people in the Rice Percussion Studio submitted a resume for that. I didn't, and then the two undergrads didn't. But I was set on doing the ballet, and I started submitting. You know, I started filling out a resume for this Pittsburgh Symphony job, and like they were asking for like, you know, previous audition experience, music festival experience. So I just like left a bunch of stuff blank, and I was like, let's just not even.
Just none.
Yeah, yeah. It's not worth it. I was doing drum corps over the summer, like, but so out of everybody, like, I think Lissandro is the only one that advanced past the resume round.
Wow.
And they said like, hey, if you didn't advance, you can submit a tape. And there's only one guy, I think, Elijah, who like, he's from Pittsburgh, so he really wants to take this. He really wants this job. So he recorded a tape. But you know, that's like more things that you have to do. That's more time that you have to practice. Like, you know, time is like a limited resource.
Mm-hmm.
So he recorded this tape and like grinded the material, sent it in, and he got passed. And now he's going to the audition. But like,
wow,
that wouldn't have even like been necessary if he had just, you know, had the right resume.
Interesting. Okay. Wow. That is like an aspect of music I didn't even know existed. Honestly, like that, I thought the auditions were kind of just auditions, and that was kind of the end of that. It was pretty simple. Wow.
Some of them are like cattle calls, like the San Francisco Ballet. I sent them my resume, but you can show up anyway. You know, like, as far as I understand it, I don't know. They'll send me an email within the next 2 days. Actually, by today, they were supposed to, whether or not they recommend me to show up, you know.
Interesting.
Like, but really, you can just show up. You can crash the audition. But it's open to anyone to take, but they'll send you like, hey, I think I think you should show up. Like, I think that you will do very well at this audition. Or, yeah, maybe not. But you can show up anyway. I think Pittsburgh is more like, yeah, don't come.
Like, please come, don't come, kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Or like, record a tape for us, and then we'll tell you if you're invited.
Right. Because it's possible that you could just be a fantastic player that hasn't really auditioned anywhere yet, or only have one or two, and they want to see you for a round or two.
Yeah. And then, yeah, it's funny. And Pittsburgh is like a huge orchestra, and everybody submitted for that, you know, and they only have so much time to like listen to candidates, you know. So they got to pick and choose who they actually want to show up, that kind of thing. They don't have like unlimited time for this audition. It's like everybody flies out, and over the course of like 3 days, they'll pick somebody.
Mm-hmm. Does turning art into work kill the joy?
No. Maybe sometimes. I mean, it's always fun to perform. It definitely, you know, kills the joy of like practicing, having it be something that you have to do. But it's not like I'm miserable practicing. It's just like you got to find creative ways to make it fun, you know.
Expand on that.
I don't know. Parks talked about this a lot. He really likes, you know, everybody does this to an extent, but like the metronome games, you know, like now I'm going to put the metronome on the E's and the U's, and I'm going to try and play it and like have it, you know, be clicking on upbeats. Yeah.
The second and fourth 16th note for those who don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, like you have your metronome, and just having it set on like beats that you're not actually feeling the pulse there, you know?
Like it's almost against you.
Yeah, it's like fun. It's like a fun, like you have to work it out, or like I don't know how to. I forgot that this is like like non-musicians like, you know, are gonna be listening to this. So you have the beat in music, you know, and you have a tempo, like you can mark it at like 100 beats per minute. And there's sometimes that you can put the metronome at like, you know, 75, so that it's not quite symmetrical the way that you're playing to the beat. And that's like a fun game that you can just like slow it down and work out how to play this in duple, how to play this like triplet thing and make it feel good while the click is really only giving you.
Oh, so you're playing at the same speed as you would be, but the way that like the beat is being given to you by the metronome is like a third as fast or 2/3 is the speed or whatever. So it lines up differently with where you're used to it. And so that way, if the intent with that would be to be able to feel it the same way no matter how you play it.
I guess.
Or it'd be to be able to feel it the same passage in a bunch of different ways.
It's like about being like so grounded in where the subdivisions are that you can like, despite all the space in between it, like point out like, okay, I know that beat of the metronome, right? That sound of the metronome is supposed to go on the second partial of this triplet, and I can place it there. You know, like you're so like grounded in the tempo that, okay, I know comfortably where that is going to happen.
So, you know? Okay. So the you're basically zooming out a little bit, the way that the joy of the art exists in your experience changes as you turn it into work, because you can do things like that where you're improving your versatility, obviously. Like you're getting better at this weird nuance of where the beat falls. But that's fun because you are approaching it as something you have to do. And so I have to be able to feel it in this different way. And that in itself becomes fun. Is that kind of a right way to put it?
I guess so. It's more like I was saying earlier, it's like just making progress is fun. You know, and any way that you can make tangible like progress is just like fun. Like it just becomes less intolerable. Like sitting in a practice room for 4 hours becomes more tolerable if you can find a new way to make progress, you know. And there's always going to be like, you know, I have certain ways that I can break down something that I know will like make it work better. But there's sometimes where it's like fun to find a new way to make a piece more comfortable, or hear it in a different way, or like, oh really, that note wasn't that accurate, but now it is, and now I know it is because of this thing that I just did, this thing that I just figured out that I could do. I don't know.
I mean, I think that's a really good insight, because I think that applies to a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I'm
Like,
sure.
as you like progress in whatever the discipline you've chosen, I think a lot of people miss the joy that comes at the beginning, because you have to basically be okay with it being kind of boring at a certain point. And I think it's really insightful to look at it like, okay, this is getting more boring on the whole, but there's parts of this that I can basically make enjoyable.
Yeah.
Like finding the little bits of progress. And so like I think you said earlier, like when you're playing tambourine, finding like a very slightly different way to do something, or a different like sound you can make, or those tiny little changes, that being like, cool, I have made progress. That is good.
Yeah.
I think that's a huge like insight to take.
I think that's like something like in general people discount, I guess. Like they're like, I think everybody has fun whenever they feel like they're doing something productive and it's not super miserable, you know, and their misery isn't like for nothing. Like, I think, I don't know, at a certain point, like I used to have a bunch of fun playing video games all the time. like, you know, I mean, you remember we were
Yes,
in
I
like
do.
2017, 2018, we were just like practice and then go play Fortnite for, you know, 3 hours. But, like now I sit down and I'll play a video game after like 20 minutes. I'm like, unless there's, you know, unless I'm, you know, catching up with Milo or something, it's like, man, this is kind of boring. Like, why am I even doing this? Let me go walk away and do something like productive. So I think everybody gets enjoyment out of like feeling like they're advancing themselves in some way, unless you're like a total bomb. Like, you know, I think that's part of it. Like, practicing isn't like just the art of like it's not as fun anymore because like let me start over. Not start over, but like practicing used to be fun, and you could get a lot of work done by doing like really basic stuff, you know, like you just turn on the metronome and suddenly it's, you know, when you're 15 and you turn on the metronome, you're like, wow, this is like so much progress I'm making, like just playing with the metronome. And then like as you go on, it starts to become harder to make like really easy progress. I mean, just like anything, just like lifting, you know, it's really easy to add 5 pounds onto your bench press whenever your bench press is 95. You know, it's impossible to add 5 pounds onto your bench press whenever you're pressing like 400 pounds.
Like that in itself is a whole block of working. Yeah.
That is like a freaking, you know, a month of work to get your bench press up 5 pounds. So it's like the same thing. Like, I think practicing whenever you're younger is easier because it's just like making super easy progress, super tangible progress, like very visible progress all the time. You know?
Yeah, it's very obvious.
Yeah, you just practice for an hour and you're like, wow, I'm way better. I can actually play this now. Like, I know how to turn my wrist for this now, you know. Versus like as you get older, it's just like, you know, the bench press. Like, if you're a really good percussionist, the amount that it takes to get 2% better is like so much.
Yeah.
That it can become like kind of miserable if you're just like, you know, locked in place. Like, okay, this has sounded the same for a week now. You know?
Has that changed your perspective on like life in general, like outside of music?
What do you mean?
It seems like, I mean, I don't mean to get like super serious or anything, but it seems like having that perspective shift in something that you're working so hard at would inherently kind of cause a change in the way you approach life in general, where like finding more enjoyment in smaller things maybe.
Oh yeah. Like, I don't know. It's just always like anytime I'm I feel like I'm doing something that matters. I guess like something that is gonna actually tangibly like make my life a little bit better. Now it's like fun. Like it's not fun to clean the bathroom, but it is, you know.
Because you know it's going to, like, the next time you go to use the bathroom, it's not going to be as gross.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like there's a purpose to it.
Yeah, and I'm not like, you know, the most disciplined guy in the world. I'm not like just cleaning the bathroom for
Sure.
fun. But like, you know, like there's like joy in little things most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes, you know, I get lazy. It's just like I don't know, when I was a kid, I used to I suffer really badly from like inertia. So when I was a kid, like my dad would want to take me to taekwondo, and I'd like would do anything not to do it. Do anything just not to do it at all. But then I'm there and it's like actually fun. Like he's taking me to taekwondo. I'm like, Dad, please, like I just want to like sit around today. And then we'd go to taekwondo and it's actually fun. You know, and I think like that kind of applies to like cleaning the bathroom. You know, like you kind of put stuff off, you procrastinate, like doing your schoolwork. Well, okay, schoolwork's actually miserable now. Actually, there's no, I get no pleasure out of like writing an essay, but you know, you kind of put off doing like a chore, and then I feel like now when I'm doing a chore, like, oh, this is actually like somewhat gratifying. There's something in here that's like, okay, I'm actually making my life better by doing, you know, I'm making my life better by putting the dishes away right now instead of in 10 minutes.
I mean, I think that's fantastic, right? Like the perspective on how to overcome inertia. Because I don't think that is an uncommon thing. I think that a lot of people like suffer from that the inertia of like being comfortable, not really wanting to do, I don't want to change what you're doing right now. And having that perspective change, to have the discernment really, to say like, I know that this is not going to be a lot of fun while I do it, but afterward I'm going to be better for it.
Yeah.
That's cool. I think that's actually like a very healthy thing, you know?
Yeah. And I feel like so much of it is just like getting started, you know, like I feel like it takes way more energy to like start a practice session than to like keep it going, I guess.
Yeah, say more about that.
Like, I don't know. I'll walk into school and I'll be watching YouTube or whatever. I'll listen to Spotify, and I'm just sitting there. And this happened at FSU too. But like, there's people sitting in the hallway, and it's like, oh shoot, this is a hang. Like, we're all just gonna talk, and then like 30 minutes go by, and then it's like, okay, guys, I'm gonna get into the practice room now. But like saying that is like so hard. But once you're in the practice room, it's not as difficult to stay in there. It's the same thing with like, you know, I feel like you got a big home project, you know. I can't think of an example off the top of my head. I don't know, like rearranging furniture at our house at FSU. Like, it used to be like, oh, okay, we're going to talk about doing this. Like, eventually we'll get around to it. And then we start it, and it's actually like, you know, we're in it. Now it's like kind of, we're doing this. We're like having fun a little bit, you know.
But okay, this is I think this is really good, and a really good path that we're going down with the inertia thing. I think the hardest part about that is, how do you actually like start? How do you get to the decision of, I am going to get up and then move towards the bathroom to go clean it?
Yeah. I think, I don't know. I actually thought about this, you know, the first time that I really started to get into fitness. You know, I'm not fit now, but at one point, like, I actually like, you know, went to the gym all the time. I mean, you remember we were all lifting. We had our Instagram pages.
Yeah.
And I remember like I wanted to take like cold showers all the time. I wanted to be like a guy that took cold showers. You know, I thought that'd be cool. And I think like, I don't know, you just have to do it. Like I'd be sitting outside of the shower, and it's all cold. You can like put your hand in it and feel that that's going to be miserable. And the first like 5 seconds, you know, are going to be actually miserable. You know, I mean, you've taken cold showers, I'm sure.
I have.
Yeah, and you know that experience of like getting in the shower. I mean, it's just getting in a pool. Like certain parts of you gotta actually like you gotta just jump in the pool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's like the same thing. Decisions that you procrastinate, you just have to decide to do them. Like you just have to decide to get in the cold water. You can't like, you know, beat around the bush and like stick, you know, parts of yourself in the shower. You just have to get in it. I don't know.
Like if you just keep putting your hand in the shower to feel that it's still cold, like you know the shower hasn't changed.
Yeah,
you know it's still cold.
You have to accept that, like, all right, this part's gonna be miserable.
I think that applies to like starting anything. It's like that very beginning, it's gonna suck. Like it's gonna be awkward. You know, if you're gonna look weird. You're gonna feel weird. It's gonna be freezing cold, and then you're gonna kind of get used to it, and you're gonna kind of get better. And you're going to kind of get better at starting things.
Yeah.
That's something about it that I've been thinking about a lot lately is getting better at starting things, getting better at overcoming that inertia. Because I think that's like a muscle that you have.
Yeah.
Of overcoming the feeling of not wanting to do something. Like you want to do it. Like you want to do it, but you don't want to take that first step.
Yeah.
And I think that the taking of the first step is like a muscle in your brain that you have to train. And you can get better at that. And the sooner you move towards something, the sooner you start trying whatever the thing is, like you're going to get better. Even if it just really sucks at the beginning, like you're going to get better.
Yeah. I like something that you like, I don't know, the discussion is something that you just said, like the wanting to want to do something. I think that is such an interesting concept that I only heard someone say that like a couple months ago. And I was like, wow. Like you can want to do something, but you don't actually want to do it. I don't know. There's like so much there. Like you don't actually want to take a cold shower. You want to take a cold shower.
Yes.
And you get in the shower and it's fine after 10 seconds, 5 seconds.
That is a genuine thing that I struggle with so hard is wanting to do something. Like I want my, like my baseline desire to change.
Yeah.
Right. It's almost like breaking habits.
Yes.
And it's so hard. It's almost like the desire to change your desires is kind of like where faith lays, because it's almost like a boldness, right? To actually take that step and say, even though I don't want to, it's like I know it's going to be good for me.
Yeah.
And so therefore, I will start changing in that direction. And it's so difficult because it's kind of like, where are you like grounded? Where is your foundation that you can be confident in doing something you're not really sure about doing?
Yes.
It's a tough conversation too, because it really plays into where your values are.
Yeah.
Because it's so easy to fall into just what you want to do. Right. And like in any given moment, just like your habits are going to be the thing that is the strongest pull, right?
Yeah.
The habit of not taking a cold shower. Like you can go turn the shower on and it's very easy to just turn it back off.
Yeah.
And not get in, and you go back sit on the couch and turn on the Xbox or whatever. It's so much easier to do that, right?
Yeah.
It's like that's what you know. You know exactly what that feels like, and you know that it's comfortable too.
Yeah.
So it's very persuasive.
Yeah, it's like the same thing, we're talking about taking cold showers and going to the gym.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a fat piece of crap right now, but like I know enough about dieting to like know what I need to do to lose weight, right? Mm-hmm. Like I'm probably like 20 pounds over what I normally like to be at.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not about like I want to eat healthy, like conceptually, and then you go to do it and it's like, man, about it, I could go like, I could get Bluebell, or I could cook up some Tyson chicken nuggets right now. And it's like I want to eat things that are healthy. And then like I also actually want to eat McNuggets.
Right.
But I've been better about it the past couple of weeks. It's also harder to think about when you're like busy.
It's so easy to fall in the habits whenever there's a lot going on. Yeah, I mean, I think that's that's great that you've noticed that shift. I think that whenever you put a lot of effort into making a change like that, one of the reasons it doesn't stick is because you don't really recognize it. Like you don't actually like notice it and tell people like, hey, I did this thing that I think is cool. Can you like, and then honestly having a moment of vulnerability and being like, hey, can you like celebrate me? Like asking people to be like, hey, can you like encourage me?
Yeah.
And I think people don't have that. You don't have vulnerability. You don't have people that you can actually like ask to tell you you're doing a good job.
Yeah.
Or people that'll just recognize you're doing a good job. So I think recognizing is huge, and that's really good. I was expecting that we would hit on discipline. We kind of did earlier, but now that we're here, I wrote like a little short essay that I wanted to read you on discipline. So it's not that long. So, but the discipline of doing something once or twice, or even a handful of times, is highly motivated. It's convincing, and it's beneficial to long-term success in that category of task. But it lacks long-term sustainability. Discipline without habit could be framed as simply making a choice to do something when it doesn't feel good, with very little regard to the long-term ability to keep doing it. A habit on its own, just a habit, will easily continue for a very long time because it's the comfortable thing, the easy thing, but it's not really motivating in itself, or it might even be demotivating. It can be harmful or addictive.
Yeah.
A habit without discipline could be framed as falling into the easy choice or the baseline choice, something that feels good to do in any given moment. There's a third thing, the intersection of that motivation with the strength of continuing to do it for a long time. Call it devotion. Devotion occurs when the difficult choice and the baseline choice become the same choice. Or when you reach the point where the thing that feels good, or the most highly desirable thing, the most convincing thing to do in a given moment, is also the thing that's the most motivating. That's the most long-term sustainable. This means that being devoted to something would also include situations where the potential gain from that thing is so great that it becomes the new baseline behavior just by virtue of it being so potentially rewarding. That it would be so potentially rewarding, so obviously convincing that it would override your previously harmful habits that are much less convincing in their long-term prospects. Furthermore, it actually also means that a lack of devotion might just be an information problem, not necessarily a character flaw. Given a new piece of information or more information about something, or the right person to help clarify something, someone without direction could potentially start developing a true devotion towards something that would actually be beneficial to their life.
I want to talk about that like last thing. I think a lot of that is like, a lot of that was like touching on, you talked about like it's like a muscle that you have to flex, like, the ability to do something that you don't want to do. But I think what is that last part that you're talking about, like producing new information or being presented with new information?
Yeah, I think the third kind of option being that devotion towards something where it's not just a discipline of choice and it's not just a habit you're falling into, but it's where those kind of align, where your core values align with what is the most like motivating thing to do. I think that can change, or that can be arrived at via receiving new information.
Okay.
So it's not that you're like creating new information, like maybe you are as a result of whatever you want, but I think that alignment of your core values with the thing that is most rewarding to do is where devotion happens. And by learning about something, by having something clarified, like basically a new option.
Okay.
I think that like people, and a problem that we have today is that there's so many options available. There's so much noise, but it's also shallow, right?
Yeah.
Like there's so much noise about like, this is how to become a millionaire. This is how to like make people like you, but it's also shallow. There's no meaning behind it. And so I think whenever your meaning aligns with what's rewarding, that's where you can actually have long-term sustainable progress towards something that actually matters.
Okay.
So the information piece is that you can have that alignment happen by hearing a very like clear picture that you didn't hear before about an option that you didn't know was available.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, I think so.
So I think that, I mean, to an extent, that's the purpose of like doing this podcast, is kind of in a way providing people with a clearer option so they can at least take that next step. It's like you don't have to listen to an episode of this podcast and then know exactly your path for the rest of your life and be completely like step, know what you're doing. But to have the confidence to feel that alignment starting to happen where you can say, this is the next thing I'm going to do. I think that's a step towards like devotion to something.
Okay. That's interesting. I'm like trying to think of like an example where like I have been presented with new information where like, okay, wait, this is actually possible. I guess it's like I don't know, when I was first auditioning for Vanguard, that kind of happened, I think. So, have I talked to you about this? Like,
I don't think so.
Okay, so at FSU, my first semester, I remember in 2021, like, obviously, the Blue Devils and Vanguard didn't come out. And drum corps happened, but it wasn't competitive. You know, they didn't, like, have a scored season. It was just, like, kind of a celebration, I think.
Yeah, like off the back of COVID, it was just weird.
And is a short move-in, shorter season. So whenever like Vanguard was coming back, I was like, I had already been to the auditions before. You remember that? That was fun, right? Mm-hmm. It was like fun to like go and play. And I remember like I wanted to show up again and I wanted to just go like drum, you know, because there's not a whole lot of like the North Texas thing is like so special. Like where we grew up, it has such like a unique culture, I feel like, of like, you know, just playing new things. Like you don't need the sheet music. You know, it's kind of inspired by, you know, Paul grew up in the Northeast. So I think a lot of it is like, you know, those guys, a lot of them learn by rote. Or at least that's how it used to be. I'm not super educated on what is happening up there, but
yeah.
Like there's not a whole lot of support for like, you know, like, all right, now we're going to do this variation. Like, I think where I was at FSU is like, oh, do you know, like, you know, cheesy poofs?
Oh, like certain
it's like,
exercises.
Yeah, or like, hey, let's play this break together. But it's not a whole lot of like, all right, now we're going to play triplet grid, but we're going to put the diddle on the second partial. Or, you know, like whatever random stuff we want to do. Like, there's not a whole lot of like people that want to do that. So I remember I just wanted to like go up and show out. And so I bought this flight and I paid for the camp and I was like, you know, I'm putting all this money into it. Like I might as well like show up and like be like, see what I can do. Mm-hmm. And I did not think at all I was going to get it. And then I got like third technically in the quad room at that audition. It was like Remy and then Desmond, who had marched troopers and is also teaching at Vanguard now. And then me, and I was like, oh shoot, wait, this could actually like happen. This is actually possible, you know? So then it became like more fun and like it became more of something that like, okay, like let's actually do this. Like let's freaking get to work. And I think that's like, you know, kind of what you're touching on. Like, I didn't even know that was possible before then. I did not expect to do well at the camp at all. I just figured if I'm already investing in it, like I should probably be able to drum.
Yeah. I mean, that's a good perspective in itself. I think that if you're going to do something, if you're going to at least pay for something, invest in it, you should at least be at baseline skill level. But I think you're right that the information thing, it could be feedback.
Yeah.
And that's what you're describing. It could just literally be feedback either directly to you or kind of like a third party, like external kind of validation in a sense where like you're doing something and then you hear something online that kind of just confirms what you're doing. That's feedback.
Yeah.
And it's not like it's not necessarily like a new phrase or a new like, you know, this is what you should do kind of thing. But it's information in the sense that you heard something that now is giving you a perspective of, like you said, oh, this is possible.
Yeah.
And I think that's what it is. And I think it's a really good example too, because that's a very nuanced example. And like, obviously, you could just like buy a book and read a book about something, and then that can be the catalyst for you to have change. And that could be what it is. It could be a completely brand new piece of information.
Yeah.
Or it could be a really like nuanced, oh, I got third in the quad room at the camp.
Yeah.
Whoa. So yeah, I think that's kind of like the purpose of it too, is not that is that there should be a nuance in those things. You should be able to accept like very small pieces of information as potentially valid like perspective changers.
Yeah. I remember, I forget who like was talking about this, but somebody said that's why like lifting or like being in shape is like so like paradigm shifting. It's because like, I don't know, sometimes it feels like, I remember for a long time I was like, man, I'm just kind of big, like it's just kind of who I am. And then at some point you realize like if you start exercising and if you start in that process, you start to realize like, okay, this actually isn't a part of my personality. Like it's not a part of who I am to be like tubby, you know, like this can be changed. And then like suddenly like a whole lot of things become possible, and you realize that like you can change things about yourself that you didn't realize that you could. And so like, I don't know, like it just like being able to like accomplish stuff like that, or being able to like gain a skill, like become a musician, or, you know, get in shape, or, you know, become a really, you know, get an A on that test whenever you didn't know anything about the subject before. I think can be like, oh shoot, like maybe other things can go like this, like that, like growth mindset, you know, people talk about. Like it's not just you aren't the person that you are, like the person that you are doesn't have to be who you are right now. You know, I don't know. Like it is possible to make change.
Yeah.
And like very serious change, you know, just by wanting to.
It's almost like, how do you find meaning, and how does that meaning change over time? Because if your meaning is rooted very specifically in how much better you're getting at percussion at the age of 15, then you're going to lose that meaning 10 years in, because that amount of progress is not going to be there.
Yeah.
And so I think the one of the keys to devotion, as opposed to discipline or habit, is that it requires much more discernment and focus really than discipline or habit, either of them. Because with discipline, to do something, you're basically just saying, I'm going to do something that doesn't feel good because I know that it's the right thing to do. You don't have to be very thoughtful about that.
Yeah.
You just go and you do. And that's strong, and that's powerful, and that's not a bad thing. And with habit, it's just the opposite, right? Where there's absolutely no focus and discernment. You just do what it feels good.
Yeah.
And when those things come together, I think it's a very delicate balance where you have to be very focused on it. And you have to be discerning about what you're choosing kind of on a moment-to-moment basis, or what you're looking for. Kind of like you described. I mean, we'll go back again to how you're practicing. It's like what you are looking for now is that just a small amount of progress on even the simplest thing.
Yeah.
And that's where like the meaning is still there, right? The meaning of, I'm getting better. There is a purpose for this. And it's not just that like I'm getting better because it's fun and I want to play clean. It's like I'm getting better because like this is something that I want to do and want to be really good at for a long time.
Yeah.
And so kind of setting it up from that way, I think it's both scary because there's a lot on the line in a way, but that fear, I think, is also very much a like motivating factor, where you're hanging a lot on the line, but you're hanging a lot on the line.
Yeah. Yeah, I get it. I don't know. Yeah, it's kind of fun to like, I don't know, you can like put all your meaning, like not all your meaning, but like you can put all your effort into something that means a lot to you. And like, really it's like about getting better at whatever craft you're doing, or, you know, getting better at, you know, exercise, or getting better, you know, training. You're training for something, whether or not that's like physical or musical or like work related. And like, I don't know, like, I remember you went to that the Eagle Scout like competition in high school. I remember like, I don't know, that's like something that you could like, the competition means a lot, but also it doesn't. Like really what matters is that you're getting good at these skills that you have chosen to get good at. It's an avenue. This competition is an avenue to get really good at some skill, I don't know. Is that on topic? I don't know.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. Because I mean, that specific example, the Order of the Arrow performance thing, that the skills that are involved there, like memorization, performance, understanding an audience, that kind of thing. And I think you said it really well right there. Honestly, I think that is. I think it's a really good way to kind of start landing the plane on this conversation, where there's direction behind what you're doing, and whenever you decide to do something, deciding wholly and like completely, and being very careful about the kind of outs that you allow yourself to have, and being very very careful on if you're gonna allow yourself to stop doing this thing, like really what are the circumstances that you're gonna allow to overcome what you're doing.
Okay.
It's kind of like the effort thing, where like you basically just say, I'm going to give this a lot of effort, and I'm not going to let something very simple stop that.
Yeah.
So I think to kind of truly land this plane, there's one kind of core thing that I want to bring it back to, which is, if there was one piece of advice that you could give yourself before you ever went to your first Vanguard audition, before you ever thought about maybe doing grad school, if you could see that version of Will right now, what would you tell him at this point?
I don't know. It's kind of hard. It's like, I don't know.
Feel free to think for a moment if you want. We can sit in silence.
I don't have like that much. I don't think it takes regret, but I don't know that. I wouldn't want to mess anything up.
Sure.
It's kind of hard. I don't know.
It's okay. It's just a piece. What I'm trying to get at is something that would have helped you then, I think, has the potential to help someone listening now. Because now you're kind of on the other side of a lot of those things, and you're in the middle of part of it still with the graduate level, with the master's education in music performance. Like, that's difficult, and you're going through it now. But you have this level of maturity about it, and you have this level of like awareness of what you're doing, and like we've been talking about, how the progress is made and how the enjoyment is still felt. That, I mean, I don't think you had that whenever you were 17.
Yeah.
And so I think if there were a piece of advice that you had to give to that 17-year-old Will before he has any of that kind of stuff, even like really thinking about that kind of stuff, I think that has the potential to help a 17-year-old listening now.
Okay.
Or even someone that's 24 and just like doesn't really know what they want, or doesn't even know what they want to want, like we're talking about. And so like, if maybe not that you have regrets, but something you wish you knew beforehand.
I don't know, like especially that conversation that we had a little while ago. I mean, we've continued to basically be on this trajectory, but like, find the pleasure in doing things that just like improve your life. Cleaning the bathroom, like that can be fun. You just have to make the decision to do it, and then suddenly you do it, and then it's fun. It's productive. It feels good to do things that are good for you, even if you don't want to do them. Even if they don't seem like they're going to be fun, it feels good to be productive. And just like keep remembering that, try not to sit around on the couch all the time. It's okay to relax, but at the same time, like, you have to acknowledge that there's some level of gratification that you personally get from doing things that you wouldn't expect.
Will Vasquez, ladies and gentlemen. Dude, fantastic. That was awesome. I mean, yeah, I think the insights that come from pursuing difficult things like what you're doing and being able to look back on them with a level of maturity is huge. And so, yeah, I think pursuing a master's degree in music performance has a lot of insights that people don't know are there. And so I really appreciate you sitting down with me. This has been a really fun time. So, yeah, we'll do it again sometime.
Yes.
And we'll just see how that perspective continues to change over the course of your of a music career.
Yeah.
Because I think that returning to an art that turns into work as kind of a baseline for how anybody should think about how to approach their life is a cool foundation to have. So thank you. I appreciate this.
Oh yeah. All right. And then at the very end of it, I just wanted to say, like, if you want to put this back with the drum corps section, I want to say, like, it's not actually always miserable. It is actually super fun, but also it's miserable. Like, I mean, anybody that's done something hard knows, like, you know, it's productive, so it's fun, but it's also miserable. Like, you don't want to be out there all the time, you know. I had a great time marching. Like, I really did enjoy it a lot, but
yeah, I mean, I think that actually works to, like, kind of close it together, because it's like, yeah, we talked about it, and we talked about how miserable it was, but also, like, it was fun, and the hindsight you have is valuable. Yeah. So they're doing hard things and then realizing they're fun in hindsight. That's like the point of life.
Yeah, and even in the moment, it was fun. I like genuinely, it was fun. It's not like the entire summer. It's like, oh my gosh, I just want to go home. It's just fun. Like, you know, it's fun to do hard stuff.
Bingo. Thanks, Will.
Yeah.